this is Susan Phelan for Utah Book Scene, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Anne Perry. I'm guessing a lot of you know that name. Anne, thank you so much for taking some time.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I have to admit, the way I found you was at the library. The author, the books.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I have a favorite mystery author, Elizabeth Peters.
Oh yes, she's a very nice lady.
Oh, you know her?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I would see the Anne Perry books. I said, oh, when I'm done reading this series, I'm going to try Anne Perry. And that was actually how I found you, because you were next to her in the library. And you have quite a number of books out there.
It's in the high 70s, I think.
Okay. I knew it was over 60. And you write in mostly mysteries, but...
Mostly mysteries. You get known and accepted for a certain thing, and unintentionally you have said, this is who I am and this is what I write. So it comes to be expected of you.
The ones that I have read have been historical.
Mostly they are. Well, I suppose they're all historical, because even World War I is historical now.
Oh, yeah, for sure it is.
Yes.
So a lot of them you have now. This one for sure is the series with
Pitt. Charlotte and Pitt.
Yes. And then you have another series with
Monk and Hester, and that the Sunless Sea is one of that series.
Okay. And the Pitt series takes place the late 1800s.
That's right.
And Charles...
No,
I'm sorry.
Monk and Hester.
Monk and Hester, excuse me.
30, 35 years earlier.
Okay. And then you also have little Christmas books. This one's called A Christmas Garland, and I read one of your Christmas books recently as well.
Oh, yes,
I
that's
love
the most recent.
little Christmas stories. They're just so fun, and at Christmas you want to read, but you know, you've got so many things to do. It's nice to pick up a shorter book.
It's also a nice gift for somebody.
Yes.
Because it's appropriate to Christmas. Actually, that one's set in India, about the time of the Indian Mutiny. And it takes a minor character from the Pitt series and gives him the whole story.
Do you enjoy using the same characters over and over? Do you find that it's fun to explore them in different ways?
Yes, it is. And because they're set in real time, in that they're a little older with each story, they can change and have different experiences, and their relationships alter, of course. And they started out, Charlotte and Pitt started out as strangers and slightly antagonists, and then they got married, and then they have children, and times change, jobs change, and
so
we learn.
Is it good to read these in order then?
Well, I'm told yes it is, but since there are about 29 of them, that's a bit steep to ask, but they are all available.
Are they're all still in print?
Yes, they are.
That is a kudo right there, because so many books go out of print, and people don't realize that. Now with Amazon, you can sometimes find used copies, but yours are all still in print. That's...
So I'm told, yes. And they're also as e-books, which is sometimes the easiest way to travel. I'm a total technophobe. I hate anything technical. I write with a pen on a piece of paper.
Do you
yes,
really?
I do. Yes, I do. But e-books are a wonderful way to travel. I've just done about a 15.5-hour flight to get here via Minneapolis. You can't fly direct anymore. And I've got the same going home, and I wouldn't be without e-books to read.
Oh, much better for, yes. A lot easier traveling and lighter.
You can't carry half a dozen books in your case, not as good a bigger case than I have.
And then you have to wonder, well, do I just throw this book out because I read it, or give it to somebody, or do I have to take it back?
No, you give it to somebody. But e-books, I mean, that's it. You just got your one tablet and you're away.
That's wonderful. Do you have a favorite character of all your books that you...
Whoever I'm writing about at the moment. In a way, it would be Joseph from the war stories, World War I, five books. But, it depends what I'm working on right now.
Tell us about the war stories.
They're set in World War I. Well, they start just before the war. They start with the shot that rang around the world, the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and it concerns a family of 4 grown-up siblings. The eldest is Joseph, who is a chaplain in the trenches during the war, and once we get going with the war. The second is Hannah, who stays at home, and through her eyes we see the home front. The third is Matthew, who's in the Secret Intelligence Service, so we get a lot of the world politics through his. And the youngest is Judith, who drives an ambulance on the Western Front. And it starts in 1914, just leading up to the war. The second is 1915 on the Western Front. The third is 1916 on the home front. And the fourth is back on the Western Front in Passchendaele in 1917. The last is 1918.
So it's the same time period as Downton Abbey. Several of the Downton Abbeys, at least, first season or two.
I don't know. Is it?
They started with the beginning of World War I.
Then in that case,
yes,
it is.
Yes. But these characters, are they middle-class characters?
Yes, definitely middle class. Joseph is a chaplain in Cambridge. It is based upon my maternal grandfather, whose name was Joseph Reevin, who went to Cambridge and was a chaplain in the trenches in World War I.
Oh, my.
And he actually had a brother, Matthew, and I just discovered this year that Matthew died in Passchendaele. But I've taken the name because it's a family name. He had a brother, Matthew, and a father, and a grandfather, and a great-grandfather, etc. So it's a nice name anyway.
Yes.
But Hannah and Judith are invented. I've taken awful liberties with all of them, but then...
well, you have to.
Yes, you have to. Because if you're going to attribute motive to people, there's no point in writing a story if you don't know what they feel and why they do what they do. Then you've got to make them fictional.
So are they mysteries, or are they just adventure?
They're mysteries. There's one mystery to each of the 5 books, and there's an overarching mystery that starts at the very beginning of the first one and ends at the very end of the last one.
So they are a good one to read in order.
Yeah, oh yes, definitely. You have to read them in order, I think. Although each one would stand alone, the overarching mystery is obviously...
will make a lot,
Yes.
You'll get a lot more out of it from that.
It starts on a perfect sunny afternoon in Cambridge with the young men playing cricket, and the girls, of course, with floor-length white muslin gowns and big hats and things, eating cucumber sandwiches, watching the cricket, which is so English. And Joseph is there, and his brother Matthew comes across the lawn, the grass, to him, and he looks like death. And he says, Mother and Father have both been killed in a road accident. And that night, when they're at home, Matthew says, and Father called me, and he said that he has come across a document so terrible that it would ruin England's honour forever and change the face of the world if it became public. They don't find the document. And that evening, the village constable comes round and says, I'm so sorry to hear about your parents. I don't suppose it matters to you now, but Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife have been shot in Sarajevo.
Oh, wow.
Also
So
in a
right
car,
there.
of course, right there. We know the rest.
Yes. And they don't know what's coming.
No, and it ends more or less with the words of Sir Edward Grey. I think it was Sir Edward at the time. The lamps are going out all over Europe. We will not see them lit again in our lifetime. That one always chokes me up.
Oh, my goodness.